Okay, we have power. So, tonight, you see the gift of love. So, I think about Elf sometimes when he goes, I just love maple syrup, huh? Just love it. Do you guys love maple syrup? Some do? Yeah, okay. But, so tonight we're going to talk about love. We're going to learn about it a little bit more, okay? So, what do you guys think love is? I got some answers out there. What do you think love is? How about you, Addison? What do you think love is? You think it's an emotion? It's an emotion, okay. Cora, what do you think? What do you think love is? She thinks it's a shrug of the shoulders. No? And we were just talking about, Elf says, I just love maple syrup. Is that love? No? You don't think so? It could be. Will says, yeah, that's love. Yeah. Do you like maple syrup, Will? Okay, so what do you think love is, though? What do you think love is? What's a definition for love? Being very fond of something? Okay. There we go. We're on our way now. Being fond of something. Yep. You would think love, it's an easy word, right? It should be easy to give a definition for it. Ruby's got one. Oh, okay. So caring for somebody, or somebody who's in need, putting their needs before what you need, right? Kind of a little summary of that. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Liz, what do you think? A choice to love somebody. So that's your definition of love. I'm either going to love them or I'm going to hate them. Okay. Sometimes it could be feeling. Could be. Okay. Could be. Sure. Okay. Morgan, how about you? I was going to come to you now. What do you think love is? What's your definition? An action? Is that what you said? Okay. So what kind of action do you think it is? Like kissing somebody? That's love. If you kiss them, you love them or something like that. You'll kiss your mom, give her a kiss. Yeah, okay. All right, so we've got some ideas out there, okay? Morgan, you've got one, right? You do? You have a definition? What do you think? Like maple syrup, right? He really admires it. He's like, oh, that is so good. When I see maple syrup, I just can't wait. It's something wonderful, right? Tim, is that how you feel about maple syrup? You do, huh? You're just like, Mom, keep bringing the pancakes because I got maple syrup here. I'm going, right? Okay. Any other love you have, though? Any other thing you can think of? What? Your dog? Okay. So there's a love there. What kind of love do you think that is? I'll give you a hint. It starts with an A. That was Christian? Affection, yeah. So that's something, yeah. So now we're on to it a little bit. So let's talk about some love, because love is encompassing a lot of different things. But mainly there are 4 types of love. So the first one we want to put up there, because Christian just said it, is storge. Alex, you want to show me storge? All right, affection. So think of your family, right? So some of you, I'm sure, when you went to bed at night, did someone tuck you in? Kind of, nuzzle with you? Yeah, does that happen? Maybe mom comes up to you and is like, you sleep well tonight, okay? Yeah, you think Alex is doing that right now? Christian, do you get tucked in? Not anymore, huh? But at one time you probably did, right? So that's what you look at this picture here, right? It's a family showing some affection for one another. And that's what the Greek term is, storge. Okay, I think I'm saying it right. It's kind of different, But I'm going to use my glasses here because I got some notes from somebody who I think you all know. How many of you guys have watched Narnia? So C.S. Lewis. So I've got some things here from C.S. Lewis that he talks about. And he says, affection almost slinks or seeps through our lives. Okay? Affection can sit alongside other loves and often does. When a man and woman fall in love, it's often because of certain things, like maybe a location. They remember somewhere that they went to. And it's like, oh yeah, that really brings back love, memories that we have there. Or, maybe you like your dog, right? And when your dog comes up to you and is just like, right? It's just like, oh, bring it on. Come on, give it to me. Yeah, that's that affection there. So that's what storge is. So it's a type of love. So do you think that's the kind of love that God or Jesus shows us? You don't think so? You don't think he ever showed that? Did Jesus maybe ever tuck somebody in? Liz is like, oh yeah, it happened. He tucked somebody in. So I bet you his mom tucked him in when he was younger, right? He had brothers too, yeah. So, right. So there was probably some different type of love that he showed. So we're going to go to the second one, a different type of love, friendship or philia. Okay, so we got a couple guys behind me here. So what do you think they have in common? Morgan? They're both boys. Yeah, okay, I could see that. But how are they dressed? They're in the military, okay. So do you think they have something in common that maybe they like to talk about? Hey, what do you think of that new M1 Abrams tank, huh? Ooh, big, yeah. Yeah, that thing could shoot a shell miles, man. That thing just shoots it out there. That's what they may be talking about. Yeah, I'm with you, brother. That's good. That's good. So there is friendship, right? So do some of you have friends at school? Got friends at school? No friends at all? Homeschoolers? You got any other homeschooler friends? Yeah, Cora's doing that, yeah. So is there something that you guys like to talk about? Something that's in common? That brings you together sometimes? Life? What C.S. Lewis says is this is one of the hardest friendships right now. It's kind of fleeting. It's kind of moving away because there is something maybe that's not in common. For me, what do you think some of my friends have in common that I like to do? What kind of sport, Sarah? Basketball, yeah. So sometimes when I get together with my friends, they're as tall as me or taller. I have some taller friends. And what's the first question that normally comes from people when they see tall people? Do you play basketball? And I say, no, I play tiddlywinks. I really like those small discs, I like flipping those around. But no, I do. I like basketball. So when I'm with my friends, sometimes that's one of the things that's common. Brings us together. We have a friendship. That's because of that. And that's one of the things that you foster. You look at these two guys, they're both in the Army. They have something in common that they like to do. There are guys I played basketball with in college that I am still friends with today. And I was in college a long time ago, okay? Way back. How many of you guys remember the 1980s? Oh, have you guys been like reborn again? You just came back? Okay. I'm glad you remember that. But yeah, that's one of the things that we have in common that keeps us together. It keeps our friendship going that we've been very close with that. But we've shared other things too that allow us to keep that friendship going. Sarah also mentioned faith. I do have some friends too that we get together at breakfast or at lunch and we talk about our faith. We just talk about where are we at in our walk with Jesus, with our walk in the light. What's happening, And so that's a great friendship to have there too. But like I say, oftentimes that's leaving us right now. And C.S. Lewis even talked about that. So we're going to go on to the third type of love. Alex? Okay, here we go now. The romantic love. All right, you guys all watching Hallmark right now? Christmas season, huh? Oh, yeah. The mushy stuff now, huh? Yeah, you guys are all into it now. Everybody's hugging, Let's go get some cocoa and, let's get in, let's have that romantic love tonight, right? Hallmark Channel all over the place. So, Tim, yeah, you've been watching? Yeah, he's shaking his head no, but I could tell, he's... Oh, it's there. I know it is. Liz, how about you? You watching the Hallmark at all?
Last night.
You did? Which one did you watch?
Which one? There's like a Private Princess Christmas.
Private Princess, okay. Well, you know what? I'm home with my wife and my daughter last night, Corinne. Corinne's still with us. Special needs daughter. Maybe you've seen her in church with us. So we were watching the Bramble Christmas last night. So it was kind of a little bit of a mystery, So it's got some music in it. It got music. Corinne loves music. So that's one of the things that we have. But the danger in romantic love, C.S. Lewis says, is that if we follow it blindly after a feeling of passion, it can be a little upsetting, if we're not really discerning what's happening in those romantic times, right? So that is another type of love. So you've got these little subcategories. But now we're going to get into what the real love is, okay? So my definition of love is giving something of value to somebody or a gift to somebody without expecting anything in return. You just give, and it's there, and it's not like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to get back. So sometimes, if we're talking about friendship love, hey, if I buy lunch this time, maybe I can get lunch back. Somebody else will buy it next time, right? Or, the affection, maybe if I give mom a kiss, she'll give me a kiss back. Or maybe dad. Will dad give me a kiss? I don't really like a kiss from dad. So, well, maybe if sometimes dads have a hard time saying, I love you, And maybe that's because they don't really understand what love really is. So, but dads and moms a lot of times give a lot of things, but they don't want something in return. Although if you're not behaving someday, maybe they might want that in return. That, hey, can you just dial it down a little bit? Give me a little room today? But that's really not what love is about. Love is giving and not expecting something back. So let's explore how God did that. So in John 3:16, wow, that's small up there. That's the whole thing up there. But we all know 3:16, right? For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting maple syrup? Life. Is that what it says there? Oh yeah, it does say that there, doesn't it? It says life. What's that? If you had some maple syrup, it would be good too. Yeah, right. So that first part, I cannot read what's up there. I'm too old for that, Alex. So I'm going to have to just move over to here so I can read it. So, for God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already because they have not believed in the name of God's one and only Son. This is the verdict. Light has come into the world, but people loved darkness instead of light because their deeds were evil. Everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. But whoever lives by the truth comes into the light so that it might be seen plainly that what they have done has been done in the sight of God. So, reading all that, though, the first part, verse 16, is really that gift that keeps on giving. It's a love that's always there, and there's nothing expected in return when we look at some things that God has done for us. So that type of love is called agape love. How many of you have heard of that? Sarah is right there. Liz, Christian, Addison, you've heard of agape love. Another term for it is charity. Okay? So, what C.S. Lewis says about this a little bit. We are made to love and we are in want of it. If we play it safe, we are not living out the gospel, but burying the coin in safe ground, as the parable says, and Lewis reminds us of that. So we want to play it out, but we don't want to keep it safe. We don't want to hide it. We want to show that love to many people, okay? That's what agape love is about. And when you look at what the Lord did for us, what gift did he give to us? What gift was it? His Son, yes. He gave us Jesus. And he didn't expect anything back from that other than to us to see that love, to see that example of what it means to have that love, to have that we're able to share it at any given time and give it to people that are around us. So, next slide, please, Alex. All right. So this is John the Baptist now, still in John 3, speaking of what Jesus is doing as far as baptizing and what John does as far as baptizing. So after this, Jesus and his disciples went out into the Judean countryside where he spent some time with them and baptized. Now John also was baptizing at Aenon near Salim because there was plenty of water and people were coming and being baptized. This was before John was put in prison. An argument developed between some of John's disciples and a certain Jew over the matter of ceremonial washing. They came to John and said to him, "Rabbi, that man who was with you on the other side of the Jordan, the one you testified about, look, he is baptizing and everyone is going to him." So you think John the Baptist's followers are feeling a little jealous now? We've been doing this, and now who's this guy coming in and giving this? And here's what John says. A person can receive only what is given to them from heaven. You yourselves can testify that I said, I am not the Messiah, but I am sent ahead of him. The bride belongs to the bridegroom. The friend who attends the bridegroom waits and listens for him and is in full of joy when he hears the bridegroom's voice. That joy is mine, and it's now complete. He must become greater, I must become less. So what John the Baptist is speaking of here is that he was sharing that love, but as we know from this time, John did come before Jesus, and he was there doing the baptizing. But then as Jesus comes along, he's really sharing the gift now. He has it in God's glory, in God's spirit that is being shared, okay? So John was doing it by merely water, but now as Jesus baptizes, it is greater than what he has said. And what John is speaking of now is that when he talks about the bridegroom and the friend who attends the bridegroom, that's what John is saying. I was helping with Jesus. So who do you think the bride is? Who does God look to as the bride? That John the Baptist would think of this. Ruby, the church. Exactly. And what is the church? Is it this building? No. So what is it? The people. Exactly. So we're the brides. Okay? And that's, Jesus is there now sharing that love with the brides. That's what he's there for. To share what it's about, what agape love is. He's going to give, and he's going to give, and he's going to give more. And he doesn't expect anything back other than he wants us to see how we do come to salvation. It is through him that we do get to God, right? That's what salvation is about. We have to know Jesus to be able to come to God. And that's where that love comes into play there. So I want to share another story that comes from the Old Testament. All right. So guess what, Alex? This time I have this one printed in front of me so I can read it and look at all of you. So this is from Ruth in the Old Testament. So Boaz said to Ruth, my daughter, listen to me. So just to give you a little backdrop here, Ruth moved from Moab with her mother-in-law, Naomi, okay, if you don't remember this Old Testament story. And as they came back into this land where Naomi was from, it was kind of odd because Ruth's husband had passed away, and another sister-in-law chose to stay. But Ruth came along with Naomi, and they didn't have a lot. So they're following people in the field and gathering. So Boaz, who owns this field, says to Ruth, my daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Stay here with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting and follow along after the women. I've told the men not to lay a hand on you, and whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled. At this, she bowed down with her face to the ground. She asked him, why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me a foreigner? Boaz replied, I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. How you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. So you could see from this, even back in the Old Testament, Boaz was understanding what that love was. So he hasn't had an encounter with Jesus, but he understands what God is doing. So he has Ruth, He's giving to her this opportunity to gather the wheat from the fields so that her and her mother-in-law will have food. And later on, in Ruth, you'll find out that Boaz and Ruth actually end up getting married. So then a little bit of romantic love comes into play there too, right? But at first, what Boaz is doing, he is showing that agape love, giving without expecting anything in return. And that's really what the Lord wants us to do. That's what it's all about. This morning, Pastor Bob was talking about some things from Jeremiah. And one of the parts in there talks about the part about God being the husband. And already at that time, though, Jeremiah was speaking of that there's another that's going to come and share with us really what it is to know God and really what know love is. Commands were written in stone at that time, right? They were written on those tablets. But when Jesus came, it was going to be written on our hearts. And through that, we're going to share that love. So can you have love for maple syrup? Sure you can. It's good. Makes you feel good, right? That's a form of love. That's what's there, okay? Can you have affection? Sure, you love to get tucked in at night. Or maybe you did, maybe not now you don't, but you're kind of like, oh, leave me alone, I'm okay. So, but you love your dog, so you give affection there maybe, right? And you have friends, and you have that love that comes through them because you have something in common. But the agape love, the overall love that Jesus has shared with us is really what you want to concentrate on. What you want to know is that I will give and not expect anything in return. I will bring value to somebody, just like Ruby had said, someone might have a need, I want to help take care of them and not expect anything in return or expect something else to happen. It's just, I'm going to do it because the Lord is leading me to get this done, and that's what I want to do. And that's the love that we have to remember. That's what the Lord did for us. He sent his son down here to die for us, to take our sins away so that we can live and not have to, how do I want to say it? We don't have to live in fear. Are we doing the right things every day? We want to do the right things, but we all know we're going to make mistakes. And that's why Jesus is here. That's why we have that spirit now with us, that love for us that is going to carry us through and take us to that eternal life that is so grand. So, do you know a little bit more about love now? Okay. Tim, you can still go home and have that maple syrup, Make sure Mom makes you some pancakes. Maybe I'll throw a note out to her for that. All right. So we're going to break up into our groups now, talk a little bit about this some more, and then we'll have fellowship tonight, right, Alex? So the guys will stay here, and I don't know, Sarah, Emma, how do you want to split up the young ladies tonight? There you go.